In this video, we're going to continue our discussion of the IC-605 driver, also the driver for the black and white Konica Minolta AccurioPresses, the 6120 and the 6136. In this video, we're going to discuss the two buttons at the top that relate to tab printing. So there's several ways that you can create your tabs and convert pages into tabs. We'll talk about those in this video. What we see here is a 8.5 by 11 page that has text boxes placed along the side of it that has the text that should go onto the tab. So in this case, we're going to use the print driver to shift this sheet over 1/2 of an inch so that text goes onto the tab. I'm going to start by going into my print driver properties. Once I'm in the print driver properties, we're going to focus on these two buttons at the top for tabs and tab settings. We'll begin on the tab settings button. So on this, we'll see that there are a few different things to set up for the tabs themselves. In this case, what I'm going to do is start with a job, as I discussed before, that has an 8.5 by 11 sheet with the text along the side to go onto the tabs. In that case, I do not need to do anything with this section as far as setting up the geometry of the tabs. I just turn on my tab shift option and I tell it which paper tray my tabs are loaded into and how many tabs are in a tab bank. So obviously it uses the tray so that it knows where to pull those tabs from, and the number of tabs in the bank helps it determine when it needs to kick out unused tabs. Here on this tab image shift, you're going to specify how much you would like to shift your 8.5 by 11 page over to put the information onto the tab. So in this case, moving this 1/2 inch should give me a good alignment onto that tab. The next thing that we do is go to the tabs button, and on the tabs button, we would tell it where we want to insert those pages. In this case, we don't need to tell it pages because we have our tabs already lined up. All I really need to do is to shift that over and place that information onto the tab stock. If I come back out to the initial print driver interface, I just tell it how many of this sheet I wanted to print. If I wanted to print 2 sets of these 5 tabs, I would tell it that I want to print 10 copies, and I would hit the print button. It will form that job, send over those 10 pages, and that would run through one set of tabs, tab information for tab number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I would create my tabs. The next way that I can do a very similar job would be to take this tab and insert it into a job. So if I had a job that I wanted to put these tabs into, I can see with this job here, I've got regular pages in my set, and these pages are 8.5 by 11. My tabs are still the same 8.5 by 11 sheet. I've just got the text along the side to place onto the tabs in the appropriate place. I've gone into my job and I've added these pages in to where I want them to be. You'll see that I'm looking at page 2 and page 4. I could go through the job and continue to place the other tabs in there as was needed. So at this point, I will go back into my print driver settings. Once again, when I come back into tab settings, the only thing I need to do here is to set my amount of shift to move those tabs over. And in this instance, I will go to the tabs button and I will tell this that page 2 and page 4 are going to be my tab pages. We can see that along the side here. Page 2 is a tab, page 4 is a tab. If I had placed other tabs in there, those would be placed in there as well. When I hit update, you'll see that it shows tab 2 and tab 4 are going to be printed. And I would just do an OK, and that would print those out, and it would pull tabs for page 2 and page 4, shift those over 1/2 inch so that I would have my regular pages on 8.5 by 11 and my tabs inserted as I requested onto tab stock. and the text that I have along the edge of the sheet is going to be placed along the tabs. Another option for creating tabs would be to convert pages that exist in the job into a tab. In this case, none of these pages have information that would go on the tab, so I am going to convert some of these pages into tabs and place text along the outside for the tab. I'll go into my print driver settings again, and we are back at the tab settings button. In this case, I don't have any information to shift over and print on those tabs. I'm going to create the text that goes onto these pages. I want to create tab set number 1. I'm still going to use tray number 1 for where those tabs are going to pull from. My page size is letter long edge tab. This is a standard 5-bank tab. You'll see here I can place the measurements for that tab geometry in here. The standard tab material is going to be a 0.5 inch space above, 2 inches for the length of the tab itself, and a 0.5 inch at the space below. You can see as I was changing that information, the photo of the tab here changed to show me what those tabs are going to look like. I can change the font that I'm going to use, the style of it, if I wanted to change spacing, do any orientation changes. So for example, if I wanted to do flip so that my text would be head towards the document and the bottom of the text out towards the tab material, I could do that. I could also have the text rotated, so depending on exactly what you're trying to put onto those tabs and how you would like them to be oriented, you could have that set up. And you've also got the position of the text on the tab. As you can see, I can change these, and if I would like to, I can also move my text up and down on the tab itself by changing the horizontal position. I've got an option here to put a checkbox in for needless tab ejection. Needless tab ejection is going to say I'm using a 5-bank tab. I may put 3 tabs in my document. I'll have 2 spare tabs left over. It will kick those out to the sub tray. So from here, I'll move to the tabs button, and I can say that page 2, page 4, and page 6 are where I would like to insert tabs. I will click the update button. We'll see here that page 2, page 4, and page 6 are in the document as tabs now. In this case, I'm going to actually convert this page 2 into a tab, and I'm going to add text to be placed onto the tab. So the next thing I do is select the tab itself. We'll see that I've got an option to print on the tab. Insert is off. My tab type is tab number 1, and I've already got these set up in the back for the tab position, and the text color I can change to be whatever text color I would like to use. Then all I need to do is enter the text in for what I would like on that tab. So we can then move to the next page. This is going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to say that this is going to have tab 2 is what's going to be printed on that, and tab 3 on the last tab. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print page 1 on 8.5 by 11. Page number 2 is going to be converted into a tab. This page is still going to be printed with the information that exists on it. It's just also going to add a tab on that and print tab 1 onto that tab. The same thing with page number 4 and page number 6. And that is converting a page in the document into a tab as well as adding text onto the tab. The next item we're going to discuss on doing tabs is to insert tabs in. So I'm back into the tab settings here. You'll see that I do not have any tabs programmed into this job. So I'm going to add tab text, and in this case I'm going to say page 2 and page 4. Update gives me 2 pages here. Quick review, if I leave them like this, it's going to convert these pages into tabs, and it's going to just add a tab onto this, and I can put text on there. If I select that page, I can also say that I would like to insert the tab before that page. I've got an option here also to insert a tab after the page. And if we look at this, I now see that I've got my page 2, my page 4, and a tab before page 2, a tab after page 4. In this particular configuration, you may also notice this shows that all 4 of these are tabs. So in this case, page 2 is going to be converted into a tab, and I can add text onto that tab so that I could say this is page 2, and page 4 also has a tab created, so this would be page 4, as well as I can insert a tab before page 2, so this is tab 1 before page 2. You'll notice I can do multiple lines of text onto the tab, and there is an option back here to where I can also adjust the line spacing, so if I needed to adjust the line spacing, I could do that as well. In this case, my tab 4 has a tab after it, so I could say this is tab 2 after page 4, and we'll see now that I have tab 1 before page 2, then I have page 2, I have page 4, and a tab after page 4. In that case, I'm going to print out page 1 on 8.5 by 11. I'm going to insert a tab that says tab 1 before page 2 will come between page 1 and page 2. Page 2 is still going to be converted into a tab. That tab is now going to say page 2. Then I'm going to have page 4. Page 4 will say that it is page 4 on its tab, and after page 4 I'm going to insert another tab that says it is tab 2 after page 4. So that in most cases is probably not a real practical thing to do for the output. So I can turn off print on tab and make that print on body. And so now for both of these, what's going to happen is page 2 and page 4 are going to print out normally. I'm just going to have my tabs go before page 2 and after page 4. In this case, what I'm going to do is print page 1 on 8.5 by 11. Then I'm going to have a tab pulled in, and that tab is going to say tab 1 before page 2. Page 2, 3, and 4 are then going to print normally. And after page 4, I will insert a second tab that says tab 2 after page 4 on its tab. The next thing I'm going to discuss is this tab position option on this. I'm going to select tab 1, and you'll see here I've changed the text on that tab to say first tab. On tab position, I'm going to say tab 4 out of 5 on the second tab. I'm going to now say that this is tab position number 2 out of 5, and if I come back and look on my tab settings, this is tab 2, this is tab 4, so I've told the first tab to print out into position 4, so it will print onto this tab. Then the second tab is going to print onto the second tab in the bank. This is not going to eject these other unused tabs out. It's going to assume that you have tab number 4 on the top of the stack, followed by tab number 2. It just specifies which position that tab is in the stack as it goes through. It does not tell it to sort through a stack for the 5 bank tabs until it gets to the proper tab that you would like it to be. So what I'm going to result in is I'm going to print page 1 normally. I'm going to insert a tab. It's going to place the tab text into tab position number 4. Then it's going to print page 2, 3, and 4 normally. And then the second tab is going to insert the text second tab into the position for tab number 2 of the 5 bank tab. The next topic we will discuss on tabs is the use of multiple tab banks. So if you remember back on our tab settings screen, we have a tab 1 that we had programmed in before with a standard 5-bank tab. I've also got an option for tab bank 2. In this case, I could say that tab bank 2 pulls from tray number 2. The number of tabs in a bank is 3, and I've entered some geometry here. We can now see that we have 3 larger tabs. This would be useful in the event that maybe you have a chapter and then sections within the chapter, so you wanted to have a 3-bank tab followed by 5-bank tabs within it, and then another 3-bank tabs afterwards to provide multiple levels of tab selection. To use that tab, if I come back to my tabs, I could say that I would like to add a tab after page 6. You'll see that it adds that tab here. I can then say that the tab type I would like to use is tab number 2. And you'll see that it shifts out now to where this tab aligns underneath of tab number 2. And you can see that I've put some text on that tab. So now when I print that out, it's going to print out the first page on letter, pull the standard 5-bank tab from tray number 1, put the text on it, pull pages 2, 3, and 4 from regular paper, pull the second tab from tray number 1 and put the information on that, then pull the 3-bank tab from tab number 2 and put the text on that, and I could continue to build that document out. Now we'll just do a quick review of some of the different tab styles that we've discussed. We'll see in this first one that I've got an existing page with tab text down the side that I need to shift over to go onto the tab. So on my tab settings, I have used the image shift, and I've got the check in needless tab ejection so that it will eject tabs that I don't need out of a tab bank if I don't use them all. So in this case, it's going to take my 8.5 by 11 page and it's going to shift those pages over. The next style of tabs that I've got is to use an existing page in the document and add a tab to that. We'll see that in this case, I've selected that I'm doing print on tab and insert is off. And in my image, it shows here tab 2 is got the little tab ear on it so that it can illustrate that this is going to print page 2 as well as add the tab text to it. In my next example, you can see what happens if I use the print on tab and do an insert to print before and after. In that case, you'll see that both the page and the tab are at the same level, so they will both print on tabs. In the next section, I talked about turning the print mode from print on tab to print on body, and that will insert before and after but leave the body paper alone so that you're adding tabs into the document on tabs that didn't exist, and your existing pages are going to go onto the regular paper. Then we also talked about the tab position option, which lets you create the tabs and specify which tab that you would like the information to be printed on so that you could print non-standard ordered tab banks. For example, you may have a tab that you just wanted to print a tab number 4, or you may have something where you wanted to print a tab number 4 and a tab number 2 like we showed in the example. This is what lets you do that. And the last example is using the second tab bank, where I defined a tab 1 bank and a tab 2 bank. And in this case, I've selected tab bank number 2, and you can see that it is shifted over, and this will now pull from the second tab bank.